Wolfpack Nation? We are back, baby, and we are sitting here with our Tuffy Talk live show, 1-0, baby. That's all that matters. End day 1-0, undefeated. We'll take it, and we'll be thrilled with it. As you know, I mean, it's much better than being Boston College, right, or Clemson, right? So. It could be one of those two guys. So, which we'll talk about them here in a little bit. But for us, Wolfpack Nation, if you've been on the show before, if you've watched the show before, you know the drill. But if you haven't been with us before, it's very simple. Again, we're going to be discussing all things NC State today, or that's talking about recapping the UConn game, previewing the upcoming game against Notre Dame, talking a little bit of ACC storylines, conference realignment storylines. So if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, send them in the chat box and we'll get to them here today. But also too, before we even go a step further, we are getting very close, folks. We just hit 90 likes on our Notre Dame preview part 1
already.
So make sure, again, we got to hit that 100 like threshold, and then we will be able to give our 2 tickets to the Notre Dame game and a parking pass to the game this Saturday for absolutely free of charge to one lucky winner. So again, do us a big favor. If you haven't entered yet, make sure to go and do so. All you have to do is be a subscriber, comment on the video, and make sure to hit that like button so we get the 100 like threshold. Or if you already have tickets and you just want to be a good Samaritan and really appreciate it, just go and hit that like button anyway. So that way we can make sure we can give those tickets and that parking pass away to some lucky winner. So with that being said, we already got Nicholas, Drew, Endgame, Hunter already in the chat. Love to see them already getting that chat popping. But Macon, Michael, I know we haven't had a chance to talk. I know Greg and I were representing in Hartford, Connecticut. So give us your initial thoughts on the UConn game, man.
For me, I thought it was a game that I don't read a ton into. I mean, I will say, like, this is a game where I don't care how we won it as long as we won it. And I really didn't want us to show our hand very much, which I really don't think we did. I think when you look at State, what I envision Notre Dame will want to do is going to stop the run. So it's going to be, I'm expecting us to be throwing more because I think Brennan Armstrong did really well with his ability to run and create. When the play broke down, he was able to create the play. And I kept thinking to myself, man, honestly, I know people really liked and loved Devin Leary at times, but like there's a lot of those possessions that he would have taken a sack on. And having Brennan be able to do that is a big deal. Sustaining drives is a big deal. You could tell he's just he could will us to a win or two at some point this season. And I was excited about it. I like seeing new faces. I like seeing the offensive scheme. I think if you think about it from like really there's only 2 big plays that are, I guess, 2 moments that were hard for State to deal with, or that they were the negatives from a defensive standpoint, right? They had the opening drive, and then they had the one long run off of one bad play. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, I thought State was pretty good. I mean, they didn't have to do a whole lot. They were just the better team, and I thought it showed for the most part. They just didn't dominate and put up a 50-point score kind of thing. So I'm okay with that. I don't care. A win's a win, whether you score 1 point or 100. So it was good for me. I mean, I think they left a lot there that Notre Dame's has not seen yet. And really glad we got the win in UConn, and good for them.
Michael?
Yeah, I'm along the same page there. I mean, it was with the new clock rules. I mean, we only had 9 possessions, so I mean, it's not going to be you score. You're not going to score a lot with only 9 possessions, anyways. Like Macon said, Brennan Armstrong is just like he's definitely going to win us some games with his legs. I mean, he ran a lot. I don't think he needed to run as much as he did, but it's you're not. That's almost a guaranteed five yards instead of throwing the ball away, right?
Or
just
sack.
him scrambling or a sack, right? So I'm with Macon there. I think he may win us a game with his legs when we haven't had a QB that could do that in a long time, probably since Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, Brissett.
And
Finley rarely, but yeah.
And Jacoby was more of a mobile guy. He wasn't like a runner per se. I think
right.
where
Well, Jacoby was a ground and pound. He was not a speed guy.
Correct.
Too, Brennan. Yeah, Brennan's got some speed, but yeah, I mean, defensive. I was more worried about the defense giving up those big plays on the first drive and that what was it, 70-something yard run, but those are also things that are correctable more so than, like UConn just beat us, overpowered us, or was faster than us. It was just guys getting out of position. So that's easily correctable, but yeah.
Well, especially that first drive, because you can easily just dock it to, we just didn't really have much tape, and their offense this year under Fagnano was a lot different than the offense last year. And so, you could say, okay, fine, you got us, but then give us an opportunity to make adjustments, and then pretty much the rest of the game, except for one play, we had you locked down the rest of the game. But the two things which I want to say about Brennan, which I love, first and foremost, I love his decision making. Like, you could tell he's a very experienced quarterback that, he made all the right moves, all the right decisions at the right time. And again, I love the fact that, in his post-game press conference, he admitted, I definitely went into this game saying, listen, I'm going to do what it takes to win. And if that means me running the ball 20 times and just saying, no matter what, I'm not going to take a sack, then so be it. And then that's what he did. And you know what? It won us the game. There was not really many downfield shots, but Doran said the post game, or I guess the Monday press conference, that that UConn definitely did a good job of preventing the deep shots, but they're also making sure that they were trying to limit the deep shots. And the one that was wide open, Brennan just took it a second earlier and decided to go run with it. So, the biggest thing for me is the people saying, talking about, well, maybe, Brennan, it doesn't have the same arm they did in 2021, already talking about, okay, maybe we're not going to get that anymore. It's like, just be patient here, folks. Like, I'm sitting here saying, I'll take this as a bowl tape, because I literally, I went with my cousin, and I remember turning to him after the first half and was like, I really feel all the confidence in the world when the offense is on the field, because Brandon Armstrong is the quarterback. Like, everything I saw from him, like, you just had confidence, and I had confidence. I'm like, and much less the players, like, you could just tell that there was just a confidence. There was a certainty that you felt like the job was going to get done. There wasn't going to be any bonehead mistakes or errors, so, again, we'll talk about here in a little bit, but I mean, it really made the offense really efficient. So,
and not just Armstrong either. I mean, the whole team. I think we had one penalty.
One penalty.
One penalty.
Yep.
No turnovers.
Wide receiver. Yep.
No turnovers. Yeah.
I just like the way that they responded every time that they were kind of pushed back a little bit, if you will. When UConn scored on their opening drive, we came back and scored. We just seemed to have an answer for everything they did, and that we, I think the game really swung when Rosa on that long touchdown did his little flip into the end zone, and I turned to a UConn fan and said, "You're going to regret that," and I'm glad my smack talk on that instance backed it up. So that was really the turning point, because you come out then the short kickoff, you get a nice return by Gray, and then you get the 15-yarder,
another penalty,
and then I think we're starting on like the 25-yard line on that drive,
right?
And it's a really short field.
Yeah, I want to get
to that.
Yeah. I want to get to a couple of comments here. So Nick Math, first of all, saying, I didn't watch any college football after the state game on Thursday. I'm sure nothing crazy happened, right? No, nothing.
No, nothing.
That's pretty vanilla weekend.
I mean, up until last night, nothing too crazy happened, really.
I mean, that was really the biggest storyline.
Yeah. Colorado beating TCU is pretty big.
I think Duke kind of stole the headlines from Colorado.
I would say who is the bigger headline?
Yeah, definitely Duke.
I would say Duke, yeah. But again, we'll talk about that here in a little more. But in game, got Drew in here. Best of luck to you, Drew, on the giveaway. In game, we'll also talk a little bit about SMU, Cal, Stanford here in a bit. Russell asked the question, or I guess made the comment here saying, appeared to me that some running backs missed some key blocks. This could have been reason we were unable to throw deep often. I worry about Armstrong taking so many hits. And then that was one of the biggest things that Doran said today in his press conference, was talking about how it's kind of a tough balance between limiting Armstrong, in terms of his taking hits, try and keep him healthy for, the 12 guaranteed games. But it's also the side where it's like, then that's part of his game. Part of his game is his ability to run the ball. So it's like, and his ability to love taking contact. That's something which not a lot of quarterbacks love to take contact, but he loves it. So it's like that's going to win you some. That's going to get you some first downs. That's going to get you some big plays.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, the difference between Armstrong and then you look at Cade Klubnik last night. Every time Brennan's going head first, right? So he's getting all his yardage, whereas Cade, he was taking that slide, and that was the difference on a couple of those plays.
He turned it over because he slid instead of diving for it. Yeah.
So you kind of like that, but then you also want your quarterback to protect himself. So it's a give and take.
And I'll add to that. I'm looking at PFF for their stats on NC State for this game, and you mentioned that there was a concern about running backs missing some blocks. Just from a grading standpoint, I thought some interesting takeaways. So when I look at run blocking, you got guys like I'd be curious. We ask this question: who do you think is our best blocker at the running back position?
I think it's
Houston.
Jordan Houston.
I think it's Houston.
The one sack from Thursday was Michael Allen.
Right. No, he is. I would not have thought that, to be honest with you. I would have thought it might be a guy like Delbert Mims or somebody. But Houston was your fourth best ranked run blocker and your second best ranked pass blocker. That's including offensive linemen and everybody.
Yeah.
So,
that's impressive.
I mean, those are good things. I thought Michael Allen, he's looking here at he was the leading grade for passing, like I guess, or like in the passing game. He was the most effective player from a grade wise, but to the blocking point, from a pass blocking standpoint, he was really bad. Really bad. And his run blocking grade is average. So,
which is interesting because the only way that could really happen is if Armstrong's running the ball, because if not, he's the one getting the ball. So I wonder how they take all that into consideration. Because
the run blocking, I would
go ahead.
Take with a grain of salt. Yeah.
But just an interesting thought. Michael Allen was your leading player on offense in both the passing grade for the offense and the running grade for the offense. His weakness is blocking. So maybe that's the point that someone was making there. But the grading, it wasn't Jordan Houston, and I don't know. But
no, I was gonna say you can definitely make the argument based on those two stats that he had the two most explosive plays the whole night with the run and the catch. So,
but I mean, the biggest thing, which for those who have seen seen a good bit of the Tuffy Talk episodes, back when we had on Philip Danford, one of the biggest things we talked about, because we talked a lot about the running back position, was the ability to break tackles. Like that's a big thing for specifically Jordan Houston, but for our entire running back committee is like, can we shed off the first tackler and get some yards after contact. And that's the biggest thing, which I actually texted Philip, after the third quarter, and was like, "Your boy Houston's looking pretty good." He was like, "Yeah, no, I guess he talked about how he kind of keeps a checklist of how many broken tackles, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I have good 6 or 7 here so far." I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, he averaged almost 5 yards a carry. So I mean, for all the Jordan Houston doubters, I mean, Michael Allen was definitely more explosive. But Jordan Houston was solid as can be, man. Once again, he gave you everything that you need from him. So, love to see it. And again, no turnovers. Can't harp on that enough. Love that in a tough environment like UConn, which I mean, I know that we'll go and talk about this here, but I know that on the preview episode that Pete and them love to bring up the story about RG3 talking about how the hardest place he ever played in was Rensselaer Field at UConn. I was sitting there during the game being like, nah, it ain't all that. It was loud, but I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah, I've got
top echelon.
PFF has the running backs at 18 broken tackles, essentially, if you want to go to that.
That's really good.
So
really good.
5 evenly distributed to get through Mims and Houston, and they kind of actually lump Brennan Armstrong. They lump all the rushing in there. But, yeah, I mean, that's really good. That's really good. Michael Allen, again, was your most effective yards after contact rusher. But still, I mean, like that was promising for the running game. So I like what I saw.
100%. So yeah, Greg, kind of give me your thoughts on your UConn experience. And by the way, one quick thing too. I don't know why you go to Hartford unless you have to go there, but I mean, there's nothing there, folks. Nothing.
There's not much. You have
nothing.
Better stuff across the border over in Springfield. They had the Dr. Seuss Museum and the Basketball Hall of Fame. That was the most exciting part of my trip. Poor Leighton had to walk a lot, so he had his walking shoes on. I thought it was fun. Good tailgate environment from the little area we had. Real quick funny story. We were throwing down on some chow, and some UConn fans were sitting next to us. They threw, Josh, appreciate you, brother. They threw down about $100. They wanted to eat off of our spread. And as we were putting things away, homeboy pulls out a gurney. Actually, pulls out 2 gurneys. Come to find out, he's a funeral director, and he's putting all his chairs and tables on top of these gurneys that he takes dead bodies away. So that was my UConn experience right there.
Wow, that was a little weird.
that was his tailgate. He had that that's
he
what he
perched at a tailgate.
Gurneys.
Yeah, he put everything on his gurneys. Yep.
Yep. And he popped it out like a bad A too. Like he pulled it out like, all right, y'all want to see my gurneys, and just pulled it right out of the bag.
I was like, why you got gurneys? He's like, I'm a funeral director. Tells me everything I need to know about you from the last 2.5 hours.
Yeah. And then another quick funny story for me was me and my cousin went to breakfast, and we were at a diner, and we were trying to figure out what we were going to do after the diner because we had so much time to kill before the game. And this guy comes up to us, was wearing state stuff. He was like, "Y'all going to the game?" We're like, "Yeah." And he was like, well, yeah. And he's like, "Oh, what do y'all got planned after this?" I'm like, "Well, it's funny you ask because we're trying to figure out what to do. What would you recommend?" And he was like, "Well, there's the Mark Twain Museum is right down the road. And then about an hour away, there's a casino." And we're like, "Oh man, that's so cool. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you so much." And he walked away, and we were like, all right, we're going to go back to the hotel and get some sleep. So we really went back to the hotel and really got some sleep to get ready for the game. So
yeah, trying to be as nice as you can be, and you're like,
Mark Twain Museum.
Yeah, the casino was, I think, from what I understand, was over in Springfield, Massachusetts, which that sounds about right. And I mean, it was a good time. Long drive. It was a long drive, especially on a holiday weekend. But glad we got the first one in the book. I think I threw in there.
Longest one.
Yeah, longest one. I think that was accounting for like 764 total miles of my 6,000 mile journey this year. So this year, not as long as last year, but I'm ready. Yeah. I'm ready.
So Macon, I want to kind of let you, man. I got 2 plays here, which I wanted to highlight. And Macon, I wanted to get your thoughts here first. So this first one here is the first touchdown of 2023. Brandon Armstrong read option here. The 40-yard line, first play of the game. And to me, I loved, first of all, how quick they lined up. I love, again, Brandon Armstrong dipping his head down, going and getting that cross that goal line. What are your thoughts here, man?
To me, it was not just even the play. It was the whole drive there, coming back from them driving from, getting a score on them and immediately coming right back and scoring on them. Because I know as a State fan, you're thinking, oh, okay, that better not be what I think this may be if they're going to go and score. And then they come right back down, do this. And to me, when I watch Armstrong make this play, I know it's pretty easy. He's wide open there. He's just kind of dive in the end zone. But I just thought it was like a statement of the mental toughness maybe of the team going in doing that. And the fact that Brennan Armstrong's putting himself out there as a rusher, that was really nice to see. I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was a statement of maybe what's to come the rest of the season with him there.
Yeah. And I think when, there's a lot of talk about, short yardage situations because we weren't good in some of them. I think this is going to be our short yardage more often than not. I think it was the first time we got goal to go, and they roll out that, and then once they saw how easy that was, then we're like, okay, let's work on our other packages. I think, but because I mean that was that, like you said, that first drive. I mean, first 2 plays were
Gorgeous.
first downs, and then it was like a minute and a half, and we were in the end zone. So
they'll have to spice it up occasionally.
Yeah.
Can't. I mean,
you'll throw some window dressing on it. I like the decisiveness of it. I mean, he pretty much had an idea when he came to the line, looking at it, whether he was going to pull it or hold it. And then he got in there and left no doubt. And he got to the point of attack quick. And then, even with all that, they still couldn't stop him. So I really like that. And I mean, that was one of 2 rushing touchdowns. And, we had 3 on the night, and we had 8 all of last season. And that was something we kind of talked about before the season got going, is like, well, what are we going to do in regards to rushing touchdowns from last year? And look, you got almost half of what you got all of last year in the first game. And so hopefully, with, like you said, Michael, with all the, little bit of negative talk about the goal line and short yardage, we still scored off of, 3 short yardage plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a heads up, y'all, we're at 94 likes with part 1 Notre Dame previews. Make sure to go and need 6 more likes, y'all. But anyway, so and then also to the second play here, is the unfortunate play here with Rakeem Ashford here. I just wanted to bring this up, just to kind of talk, one thing here, because, obviously as a result of this play was a 15-yard penalty, no ejection for number, what is that? I can't even see. 11? Number 11 for UConn.
Yeah.
And here's my thing is, again, I know that back when Big T got carried off during the UNC game, that we kind of had this conversation. But to me, I feel like my wish list is that, like in hockey, for example, if you get a major penalty and that results in the player getting knocked out for the game, it's automatically upgraded to a game misconduct. And for me, I'm sitting here saying in this football, there was no intent on the football here. None. There was no intent. The Rakeem was nowhere near. Was nowhere near Julian Gray. The play was over. Comes out nowhere, blindsides the guy and knocks him out of the game. And so you're sitting here, if you're Dave Dorn, you're saying, well, hold on a second. Like 15 yards is great and all, but now I'm out as safety, and that guy still gets to play football. Like, like where's the justice in that? So, and that's kind of my 2 cents. I feel like that's
a fair
guy
point.
gets carted off the field, not just like put on the bench and like, oh, my knee. He got carted off. He should 15-yard penalty, unnecessary roughness. In my opinion, he should have been gone. But I know it's not part of the rules, but that's just kind of my thinking here. Any thoughts here, y'all?
Fair point.
No, I mean, you talk player safety. I mean, that's a major player safety type, infraction. I know it's not quote unquote targeting, but it has the same effect. With either a concussion, potentially a whiplash, I think is what it was sounding like that Ashford had. Here's the other thing: we were already down a safety in this game with Harris being, on the sidelines, and so you're down yet another level of safety. Like it's not much before you don't have anything really left at that position, and thankfully it didn't come to that. But a couple of things I wanted to say was the UConn fans were really bad in this instance. We had a lot of UConn fans, one, yelling at the referees for even throwing the flag, and then 2, that they thought that Ashford was flopping as he's receiving medical attention. It was some of the most he's
on life support. He's faking it.
It was unbelievable. I saw 2 other state fans in other places within a section on each side of us getting into it with like UConn people. Like, what are you talking about? Like, pull your head out your rear. It was a pretty disgusting display by the UConn fan. Not all of them, obviously, but it was enough to where it was like, what are we even doing here?
We need names, Greg. We need names right now.
I have pictures, and we can probably run it through some AI chat GPT and identify them.
Sounds good to me. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Good call, man. Good job.
But again, great news is that from Doran, it sounds like Rakeem passed all the tests. Sounds like he's fine. Sounds like honestly just a lot of soreness from the whiplash, and so they're just keeping him out of this game, precautionary. But it sounds like we should hopefully see him for VMI or Virginia. So
my guess is you probably hold him out for VMI. You don't really need him for VMI, so you probably bring him back for UVA. Again, obviously depending on everything how it works out, but
depending on what he wants to do. I mean, like in a situation like that, it could be a case where he wants to get the nervous mental side out of it, and just go play a couple plays just to kind of be somebody. Like, all right, yeah, no, we're good. Yeah, but yeah, no, again, if you don't need, if he's fine, then yeah, no need to play him against VMI. So anyway, a couple comments here. Definitely got a couple between Michelle and Game here agreeing cheap shot here. And also too got Cam here saying with them playing a lot of 2 deep zone, we were just taking what was there all game. So yeah. Completely agree, and that's what you want to see from an offense. You don't want to be that one-trick pony, that that triple option where it's like, all right, they're stopping the run, well, we're going to keep running. You can change it up depending on what the defense gives you. Yeah,
I think that was another when we did take our shots, we were fairly successful in it with drawing the PI, and then we did have one completion, and then we didn't. We had the one incompletion, so. I thought it was good that Brennan didn't force the issue, but I think at some point this season, you're going to have to see him force the issue. And I just think the situation didn't dictate it. We were ahead, so there was no need to, worry about that. But I feel like if we're in a different situation where we're in a dogfight and we need some points, you may see him, push a little bit more.
And Michelle does make a good point. The UConn did show respect for Aiden White by not throwing near him. So at least they show respect there for sure.
Well, their quarterback couldn't really throw much at all. Period. So
no, and after the game, I talked to Pete, the former UConn player that we had on, and he was like, "What are your thoughts on Fagnano?" And I was like, I mean, to me, it's exactly what I expected. It's a guy that played in Maine against FCS opponents, but that he's a fifth-year guy. So, a lot of the plays that you saw on the first drive were very senior-led plays, very smart, solid plays. But in terms of arm talent, it's just not a lot of us there. But running back-wise, I was very impressed with their running backs for sure. So.
Well, and it is interesting that both teams scored on their first possessions, which typically are your scripted and best plays. So it's not surprising that they came out and scored, but then after that, it's what you did, and you really only gave up one play, and they had I think maybe 155 yards of total offense if you take away the first drive and that long run. I mean, the defense really did a nice job.
Yeah. One last comment, then we're going to need to move on here from UConn. But Doc Gibbs saying, so where is the rest of the offense? If Brandon keeps and runs it, is if the Brennan run is all that we have for Notre Dame will hurt Armstrong. Once again, Doc. Yeah. Patience, young grasshopper. Patience. I guarantee you. Hey, you know what? It could set up beautifully because hopefully Notre Dame goes into that game saying, hey, y'all. Brandon Armstrong, he's going to run the ball 20 times against us. Yeah. So we need to bring our linebackers up. We need to shut it down. And then Rosner, Julian Gray, Timmons, watch out. Deep shots. Yeah. Deep shots. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, if you get that one-on-one, like you're saying, if you get that one-on-one, you can go over the top. I mean, that's an easy.
You're not even mentioning the tight ends either. So, to me, I just think about He's right. I mean, State can't run the ball like that every game, so they're going to have to throw the ball. And I think, to be honest, I thought there was the passing game had some room for improvement a good bit.
Sure,
but we didn't need to throw the ball, and that should be the takeaway. We didn't need to that game. So
whatever it takes. I don't know
why why would we force ourselves to throw it if we don't need to?
Yeah.
If you're the better team, just run it down their throat and win the game. That's what we did. So.
46 rushes for over 250 yards. I mean, that's a productive day.
250 yards rushing is a really good.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, that's tip of the cap kind of thing.
Well, and the other thing when we talked about it, you're controlling the clock, and in today's age, when you have less possessions, that's even more of a big benefit, if you will. And then I guess the last thing I really want to say was the yards after catch. We hadn't really talked about that. Like our wide receivers did a really good job. In fact, we had more yards after the catch than actual receiving yards, at catch point. So if that's a stat that continues to go in that direction, watch out.
Which what that tells me is it was not well, and it was not they couldn't read it. I mean, like there was no predictability. It was, it was like, oh shoot, we gotta go get him. So
even with us not throwing over the top, and we threw underneath all night, and we still got all those yards. So I think we'll be fine. I mean, yes, I think we're going to see an improvement. Hopefully, it's enough an improvement to win a ball game on Saturday, but I'm not too worried about it.
So before we move on to our next topic here, I wanted to take a quick second to get into a serious topic here. Is again, there was the news per WRAL that there has been a death in Sullivan Hall, NC State, which, this investigation is still underway. But no matter what, once again, just want to remind everybody, I know Michelle, you have a, daughter who's moved into the state. Please, 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 please share with everybody that folks, because again, I mean, all of us here are NC State grads. We know what's like to be, underneath the pressure, of being a full-time college student. So please feel, reach out. I know that NC State's done a great job hiring over 50 additional counselors. So that way there's every 11 students gets a counselor. Basically, that's the ratio of it. So there are plenty of people to talk to, and then we always even say as well, our email box, our DMs are open. Feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to chat with anybody who needs it. We know it's it's tough. We know life of college students tough. And if you need anything, please feel free to reach out. I'm always here to help. But again, just between the 7 suicides last year and now one this year that has not been confirmed suicide or not, but it's just not how you want to start the year. So we need to stop this at all costs. It's not what you want to see. So, all right, y'all. So let's move back into some fun stuff here. Oh, well, I guess not necessarily fun, but you'll see what I mean here, but interesting stuff. So here we go. Let's jump on over some Tuffy's tweets of the week. And here's what I am talking about. Welcome to the ACC, Cal, Berkeley, Stanford, and SM freaking U. And also, too, I know that everybody except for Justin Cook is not a fan of this move. But again, y'all, like, all right, so let's go and talk about the positive real quick. So I do understand the positive side. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But
come on, that's not fair.
But the one positive which comes to media mind is that I get where they're basically trying to prevent what happened in the Pac-12, where basically so many people left until basically there's no conference left. And so it's like, well, we basically are forcing our hand to either do some drastic overhauling or just disintegrate altogether. So now adding these 3, if Clemson, or FSU or UNC want to leave, then you still have enough to handle a full conference load. So I could see that as the one positive. But there's a lot of assumptions which are put into that thought processes. A lot of assumptions. So, Greg, I know you shook your head first at this. I know you've been pretty hardcore against this as well. So, give me your initial thoughts on this news.
Yeah, this is just more of a knee-jerk, reactive, not proactive move. I get it on the surface, but all you did was just assure that this conference is going to be a shell of itself within, I would say, the next 5 to 7 years. There's no benefit other than you're probably going to get a couple more $1 million. It sounds like from state's perspective. And
Joe Ovi said extra $3 million.
The numbers. They don't share the true revenue numbers, so it's all guesstimations. But yeah, anywhere from 3 to 5. I see why state flipped. I think it doesn't preclude us from leaving in the future, and so it allows you to just take advantage of some extra pocket change, because really, let's be real, $3 million is just pocket change to these universities, but it does allow you to do a couple of things. The one thing I would say is, why didn't you go grab Oregon State and Washington State at this point and just really stick it to the ESPN? because then you could have gotten some more money from them, and you probably could have shaken them down for about what you brought in Cal and Stanford for, because SMU's not getting a dime for the first at least portion of it, and I think the other two are getting 30%. I think something like that. They're taking
30
account. Yeah,
but I think Oregon State and Washington State couldn't afford to take that deal. I think Stanford and Cal and SMU can afford to do that. I don't think those other two.
Yeah,
could
be.
Well, isn't SMU private?
They are.
Yeah.
Okay. But the thing is when you did this,
all three are private, right?
No,
Cal.
No, Cal. No, they're
Cal's public.
Cal's very
private.
Yeah.
Stanford. Right. Cal Berkeley. Yeah.
I believe Stanford is private.
So Stanford and SMU are private. Yeah.
Where the other two, I believe Washington State and Oregon State are public schools. So I don't know. Like at that point, you might as well just stick it to ESPN because they got to pay you out. So I don't know how. I don't know how. I mean, I would even think even at a reduced rate with Oregon State and Washington State, they'd still be making what they would be potentially making in the Mountain West, because I think that by all accounts, that's the rumor where they're potentially landing. I don't know. The rumor is that State made a backroom deal for AAU status potentially, which then could open the door for Big Ten access later on, because Stanford and Cal are both AAU voting members. Who knows? Who knows?
There's definitely something that changed.
There's something brewing.
We voted no originally,
right?
And that was still when the whatever that $3 extra million that was on the table,
always on the table. Yeah. So what extra did we get to make us really flip that vote?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I'm indifferent about it. I just don't want to hear any more talk about the student athlete is our highest priority and their health and well-being. I just don't want to hear that anymore.
Bingo.
Bingo. Especially after the Big Ten can't say that. I mean, the SEC, if you look at the map, the SEC is still somewhat regional. It's just larger.
I mean, it's big. Oklahoma's still pretty far. I mean,
I know. I'm gonna get that. I mean, imagine going to Gainesville to Oklahoma. It's a far drive. But I don't really care either way. If State's department thought it was in their best nature to do this, then I'm going to trust them in that regard. And I mean, as long as it doesn't hinder us from being able to join other conferences, if our leadership wants to, and those other conferences come calling, then I'm okay with that. I don't really care. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I think the idea of playing Stanford and Cal, on the East Coast, be kind of fun. I mean, especially if there's some sort of agreement that, hey, you guys are traveling, we're not traveling as much as you guys. I'm pretty sure that's part of it. I think I heard somewhere that maybe you do something in the middle of the country for like swim meets and those kinds of things, instead of being like, hey, we got to go out to, to Stanford or
a volleyball
San
game
or wherever it is. So,
and that's the crazy part, because
I'm okay
with commercial.
Right. I mean, I know, I get it. I don't like it either. It's that part of it. I am a little indifferent about it, just because I think State can get a little more money if they really want to. Heck, that might not be you mentioned Joe Giglio. He may not know everything about the situation, right? So he probably doesn't. But I can almost say for certain he doesn't. So we'll see. I mean, he probably knows more than we do, but still.
Yeah, but sure. I mean, it reeks. I mean, if all you're getting is $3 million, forget the drug deals behind the scenes and whatever may have been negotiated. It's not worth it, right? Because
in light of what, from what perspective?
I think State
perspective.
Well, the
ACC, it doesn't make sense, right? The ACC, I don't think it makes sense. From you're still going to be a dying conference. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to do something. I mean, that's the problem, right? Because you waited so long to do anything, then this is what you could have done. But I mean, go get West Virginia. Like, they're dying to get out of their conference. For
a chunk change.
Yeah, probably. Like, I think you just could have got a better haul, if you will, of teams. If you're going to expand, you could have gone out and got a UCF before they moved, or a Cincinnati. So then you're a little bit more regional. The problem is you just waited so long, so all you got was table scraps.
It's a panic move. You're panicking.
That's exactly what it is.
right?
Amen.
I mean,
Yep,
it's all
absolutely.
at this point. It's
Can we pull up Nicholas's comment, because that's an interesting no.
No.
And that was the problem too. They were dictating all these circumstances that you have to go take these schools, and it's the secret society. Yeah, sorry, thank you. I always forget that we release this non-video as well. This was all orchestrated by Notre Dame, and that it's the Notre Dame secret society handshakes, because you have Jim Phillips, who graduated from there. Like, there's so many Notre Dame ADs out there, and it's, I don't know, it reeks. The whole thing reeks.
And of course, we got West Church saying App State, and again, that'd be a no. Like, again, they don't offer you anything outside of football. Even their football stadium is just, that's another Boston College edition. Yeah. You're just adding basically a Boston College with less tradition and less money.
I really think people's opinion of App State, like, no one's talking about App State in these expansion talks, right? Like, no one's talking about ECU. I think people are just thinking a little bit highly of those programs than they actually are in the national eyes of things. So, and the money side of things, right?
Yeah. Right. Which ECU, come at us, ECU fans.
I was going to say the same thing. ECU just doesn't move the needle nationally, and let's be real, State. For a lot of people,
they got clobbered by Michigan.
They did get clobbered, but it's funny because you talk to some of these, like, we have friends that are on the baseball team, and they didn't really know anything about NC State before their son committed to NC State, and they're from California. So if anything, it does open the footprint. Like, people will know more about NC State now that you've got a West Coast presence. Yeah, but it doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, and I'm kind of with Macon. Like, I don't think it really matters, because I think when the ACC eventually starts breaking up, I think State's one of those teams that finds another conference. So
yeah, I don't think State's end goal is to stay in the ACC. I think that's pretty evident.
And
right, it's the end goal of Wake and Syracuse and Duke and BC, those guys, because they know they're not going anywhere else. But
absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll add this point to what you're saying earlier about the AAU thing. If we were to vote in Stanford and Cal, they might be able to help us get that accreditation, how you pronounce it?
Accreditation, you got it. Yep.
Accreditation, yeah. So that would imply that you mentioned your note, Greg, that if the Big Ten, needs that, then right now they were limited to SEC, right? So what if the SEC wants Carolina? Well, then we're stuck. So, I'm kind of indifferent to it. I kind of okay. The leadership, I would safe to say they want what's best for NC State, and I think something had to change. To Michael's point, for them to go that direction. Like, you don't have your first vote to be the vote.
I think it's multiple votes too, right? I think we voted a couple of times.
Well, yeah.
Officially, I think it was only 2, but I'm sure there were. Yeah.
But to your point, Greg, I don't know where the balance is of how ridiculous is this voting yes or not. I mean,
right.
I don't know. So it's just the whole concept of playing schools on the West Coast is ridiculous. So that's just a general thing. But
and honestly, we truly won't know how this plays out for another couple of years, right? And we can speculate all we want, and you can hear rumors, but I think there's just that. And I think before we all jump off the ledge, we just kind of like you and Macon and Michael are saying, just be indifferent to it and see what it takes us. And then in 4 or 5 years where we don't land where we wanted to land, then we can raise up our arms and go, you stink, take pitchforks to Chancellor Woodson's office and
which anybody too going after Chancellor Woodson really needs to remember that, again, there was 11 other people that also voted yes. Like, it's not like Chancellor Woodson made the decision for the whole ACC. Okay,
right?
And once again, we're all speculating. That's why conference alignment really just bugs the crap out of me, because it's all speculation. Right. Nobody knows what's going on within those doors, within those meetings. Like, nobody knows besides those people on the call. Like, it is locked tighter than it is locked tight. Nobody knows anything.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go and jump on over to something that we do know a little bit more about. And that is another 3/4-star wide receiver commit, Jamar Boston from Anderson, South Carolina, committing to the pack here today, adding another great piece to the class of 2024, which, I'll tell you what, again, I think Coach Doran heard a couple of people saying, man, Doran can't recruit. And Doran said, watch me, baby. And then, man,
Hold my
he
red
is coming
Solo
out with
cup.
a fire. Yeah, hold my red Solo cup. And he is coming out firing ever since. I mean, I'm thinking about next year, thinking about, having Jamar Boston, Terrell Anderson, Kevin Concepcion, Javonte Vereen, Michael Allen, Kevin Concepcion, and MJ Morris.
Forgot one.
Who else?
Jonathan Paylor.
Jonathan Paylor. Sorry. Yeah. So, I mean, once again, it's just so many weapons. Give me your thoughts here, man.
I think if you watch this guy's film, I don't think you can look at this guy's film and say, this guy's a 3-star guy. Like, whatever you think in your mind, like if you've watched it enough, like there's some guys like, I don't know. I've seen some other 4-star guys committed to other schools that State was recruiting at one point in time. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can kind of see their talent. I can see their talent there, but it didn't really like wow me. What this guy does with the different levels he's receiving at the ball at that position, different levels there, and what he's doing with the ball in his hands, this does get me excited. If you watch Terrell Anderson, Jonathan Paylor, and Jamar Boston's highlight clips, you can see how there's the blend of the skill levels they have. So, like, in my mind, Anderson's your deep threat kind of guy, but he can be your intermediate to deep routes. Paylor is your Swiss Army kind of. He can be in the backfield. He can do shallow routes. He can maybe take it down deep if you need him to, but he's kind of all over the field. You kind of can get him touches. You want to get him touches. Mm-hmm. And Boston's kind of like that short mid-range guy that is just like he could break a tackle and be gone kind of thing. And he's almost like he's looking like if you're going to come at me, he's not avoiding the hit. I'm not saying he's embracing it, but he's just there's some of those highlight clips, man. I know we didn't have it for this show, but like if you could see some of his huddle tape, it's exciting to me. Like I want this guy. I went, ooh, like I like this. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, a good get for State.
Yeah, Michael, any additional thoughts here, man?
No, I like making summary there. I mean, he's definitely a good addition, and just adds to a great wide receiver class already.
Yeah.
So let me add this point. When was the last time? And I don't know when. So that's my thing. Like every receiver so far in State's class is a 4-star guy. Some side has him as a 4-star guy.
Yeah.
When was the last time? Well, it hasn't been the last 3 years. I don't know when the last time that's happened, but 3 guys that are ranked as 4-star receivers. That's pretty sweet to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially because that's our biggest need by far. Like it's not like we just like fell into like, oh, we have 3 quarterbacks that are 4 stars that wanted to commit to us. Okay, sure, we'll take it. No, it's like we needed help at wide receiver, and we got the best help we could find to come fill that need.
I think Jamar Boston was a guy who we kind of found after a while, and these guys are not all consensus 4-star receivers, so don't get that.
Sure.
But there's some side. I mean, like I don't know. I like what I see out of Anderson with the ball in his hand. I like what I see with the speed and the flexibility that you get with Paylor. But I really like the skill I see with in the intermediate routes with Boston. Mm-hmm. He's kind of got me excited. He looks a little bit stockier than I think the other 2 guys are. So I like – I mean, Paylor's ripped, right? Yeah. Anderson's is a long guy, but Boston just like he comes across like he's stocky. Like he can kind of use his body a little bit to break away from the tackles. And I like that. There's some clips there you'll see. Yeah,
absolutely. So excited to see what he can do, man. And again, it excites me that all this is going on, only right after the first game. Like there's still so much time where, a lot more noise can be made, and we're already pretty deep and pretty stacked in our 2024 recruiting class. So love to see it. Great job, to the coaching staff, and excited to see what we can do. All right. So let's move a little bit on to Notre Dame, baby. Let's start talking a little bit Notre Dame here. So before this show, we put out this poll here. So for those listening, we asked the question, which Notre Dame win was more memorable? 2003 Gator Bowl win Phillip Rivers versus Notre Dame or 2016 Hurricane Matthews win. And I did check because I pulled this about 15 minutes before the show started, and I did check, and it still stood that 54% said 2016 Hurricane Matthew, 46% said 2003 Gator Bowl, which I thought there was one interesting comment saying, I think the age of the voters would have a lot to do with this.
That too.
And I do agree with that. So I think the fact that it was 54% Hurricane Matthew says a lot, because I do agree. I mean, like myself, like I was alive for the Gator Bowl, but I was too young. I didn't go. So, but I mean, Greg, were you shocked by this result at all?
No, I wasn't, and I was the one that threw this out because I was just curious because we do have a winning record against Notre Dame. We're 2-1 all time, and I was just curious. I'm old enough to know, or excuse me, not know, but remember both of these games, and I had a feeling that the 2016 Hurricane Matthew Bowl would be on top. One, just because it's more recent, and people tend to. It's kind of like when you're picking the GOATs of all time, you tend to pick the more recent GOATs instead of like the older GOATs. And so this kind of reminded me of that, but both memorable, State getting to 10 wins, and, who can forget the Coach Thunder smackdown. It was a dominating performance, one that kind of put State on the national map, just, taking it to Notre Dame the way we did. And, we weren't favored in that game. And, of course, who can forget the Hurricane Matthew game? I won't. Yeah. And people still talk about it. And, there was only probably 20,000 people, but you'd think there was 80,000 because everyone's got a story from it.
And by the way, Doc, I see your question there about MJ and Armstrong. We'll touch on that here after this comment here. But yeah, I mean, like, I feel like just for Hurricane Matthew, it's just so unique. Like there's not been many, if maybe one or two games in the history of college football that have ever been like this one. Like the first one comes to mind is one of the really early Ohio State Michigan games where it was literally like a blizzard and they couldn't even see like the goal line, and then the final score was 2-0 on a safety. That's how unique this game was. Like this game should not have been played, but we played it anyway.
I think there was other teams in the triangle that had games that day that did not play.
UNC, Virginia Tech.
UNC played Virginia Tech,
they
did,
but
they played later. They played later. They did play, I think.
Yeah, I think it was
UNC VT did
Virginia
play.
Tech. Virginia Tech went to UNC and won, I think, memorably.
They did. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but either way, I just remember being like, to your point, Layton, about this game, like. I remember listening to the radio when I was leaving, and they were talking about how they write the weather on each game for the note, and they usually sunny, rainy. They just wrote Hurricane Matthew, and that just kind of says it all. I remember how wet it was. I mean, I had my dad's hunting waders on it, and I had to go and empty them out at halftime because there was so much water in them. So
yeah, I just remember that we were staying in a hotel out in Smithfield. We couldn't even get back to our hotel. The roads were closed. And so we ended up having to stay at the Sheridan, and we went and had dinner at Jimmy V's restaurant, and we had dinner with Ted Brown, and it was, cool. We ended up having to stay there. And my buddy who flew in for the Notre Dame game, he lives in Ohio. He's a Notre Dame fan. We got back to our hotel. It was on the 4th floor. Power was out. We had to walk and bring all of our stuff down, and we almost didn't get them back to RDU because roads that it said to take were actually flooded out. And it was a mess, but it's still one of the greatest weekends I've ever had as an NC State fan.
It was fun. Oh. It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. So, looking forward to hopefully a less unique game here this Saturday. Hopefully just beautiful weather. I know as of right now, they're projecting thunderstorms, which I mean it's still
Notre Dame without rain.
Yeah. And in-game even adds in here saying that there's a GFS model that has a powerful hurricane near the Caribbean that will hit us by the time we play Notre Dame. I think it was Corey Smith actually that a couple days ago tweeted out saying, just so Wolfpack Nation knows, as of right now, they are not projecting a hurricane to come hit North Carolina. I'm like, well, there's still time for one to get developed and come our way.
We can brew one up real quick.
Yeah, I'm like that's a little easy to be making. It's a little early to be making comments like that because I mean, it would just be our luck that it would happen. And I don't even know what I would say. I'd just be like,
I would laugh.
It would, only NC State. But anyway, so I do want to touch here real quick. I want to touch on, because I know Doc's put a couple of good questions in the comments. I want to make sure to get to one of them. So talking a little bit here about where does MJ fit with Armstrong? Is MJ finally healthy? And I think for me, this question is very simple, which is why I also wanted to bring it up. That, I mean, I think with MJ, he's a guy that if it were, if it came time because of injury that MJ had to go in the game, I think we feel fine. We feel confident. But Armstrong's the guy. If he's healthy, he's going to play every single snap. And I think for MJ, because I think as long as we can help it, Armstrong will play every single snap, because if there's a time where Armstrong's helmet gets knocked off and MJ has to go in the game, then that counts as one of his 4 games, towards his red shirt. So what if, because you may say, well, you can play him against VMI. It's like, well, but what if there's 4 other games this season, which just by the craziest of luck, Armstrong's helmet comes off, and now you're having to maybe consider putting in Lex Thomas, to take that one snap, what if it's against Clemson? Are you really gonna? So it's
right,
so just don't even put yourself in that position. Yeah, don't even put him in that position. Right. So that's kind of where my 2 cents are. Anything to add to that comment here, fellas?
I just don't. I mean, really, the only opponent that I see was knocking the socks off would be the VMI game. I think everything else you're going to play, a full game with your starters. Yeah, at least your quarterback anyway.
Yeah. But again, we'll see luckily enough, we don't have to make that decision. But that's just kind of the thought process that Doran and the staff has to go through, being like, well, what if? We don't want to put ourselves in that situation where we have to maybe rely on Lex Thomas, which, I mean, wouldn't be the end of the world, but that's not what you want in some of the games that we're going to see late in the season. So, all right, so let's move on to our next tweet of the week here. So top 5 most expensive tickets in college football this weekend. You got number 5, number 22, Ole Miss, at number 24, Tulane, $90 cheapest ticket. Number 4, Notre Dame at NC State, $105 cheapest ticket. And then number 3, Iowa State, $123. Number 2, Texas versus Bama, no shocker. College Game Day, $170. But then Nebraska and Colorado, $369 lowest price. That is
Deion effect.
That is the Deion effect if I've ever seen it.
Yep.
Holy crap. That's just crazy.
I gotta think there's gonna be some celebrity people to go see that game, because ain't nobody gonna spend $400 to see Nebraska play at Colorado in their right mind. So,
I mean, people in Colorado just are like,
Colorado fans.
We have a good football team again.
Yeah.
And you want to spend at least $400 on it per ticket? They must have a lot more money.
It's definitely more for Colorado.
I can move to Colorado if they're spending that kind of money.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So, but again, I mean, it's cool to see that, with the, even hearing the players in the press conference today, talking about, how awesome environment it's going to be and that's why I'm saying it's such a huge thing. That's such a positive for NC State, is the fact that the environment is going to be ridiculous. They're actually going to sell standing room only tickets for this game, just squeeze as many people as they can into the stadium, because I mean, it's such a hot commodity. And again, I mean, first game with the new scoreboard, which looks amazing, the new sound system, Notre Dame at home, it's
the second time ever in the history of college football has Notre Dame came to Carter-Finley,
right,
or Raleigh.
And first normal time, hopefully, knock on wood.
Right.
It'd be
something
the first reasonable weather game.
Yeah.
There's going to be probably 5,000 to 7,000 Notre Dame fans there easily.
Oh yeah, for sure. Shoot, I know. For my family, one of my dad's work buddies is a diehard Notre Dame fan. He's like a shorter, white-haired dude, and he actually has a full leprechaun outfit that he wears, and so he's going to be coming. He's going to be wearing his leprechaun outfit. So we'll make sure to put out a picture of that on the Tuffy Talk Twitter page, because
I got 2 of them coming with me, unfortunately. So
leprechauns,
leprechauns. Yeah, you got the laddies. Yeah, no.
I will say I just checked the. Well, that's High Point. Let me check in Raleigh. Anyway, actually look at the weather for the game?
Yeah, it's dropped about 88% chance of rain according to AccuWeather. Like Leighton said, some thunderstorms.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm looking here at was it noon? Noon through 4 o'clock is about 50-something% chance of rain. You're looking at about a tenth of an inch in 4 hours. So it'll be misty. Looks like.
Yeah, that's not fun.
But we'll see.
But we'll see how it affects if it does affect the throwing game. You know, remember the hurricane that Brian Kelly was damned to throw it 50 freaking times. I almost said a different word, but it's just that definitely played into our strategy. Not throwing it.
It played in our favor for sure. But we won't talk too much in terms of necessarily like strategy and keys to the game necessarily in this live stream. But again, if you want to go check out Notre Dame preview, make sure to go check that out again. As of last time I checked, we're at 96 likes, 4 awake, y'all. So please help us hit that 100
97.
97. So yeah, go and make sure to enter 2 tickets and a pass on the line.
I haven't liked it yet.
Game. Oh man, Michael.
I liked it.
I'm gonna
go ahead.
I'm gonna make the
Are we
fans
allowed to
do the
win?
work.
Are we allowed to win? I'm joking.
Family are ineligible. Read the fine print.
Yeah, no.
And what it is, you gotta be kidding me.
We got 68
Make
comments
fans
on there.
do the work.
Yeah, we got 68 comments. So people are
Let's
are
keep it going, y'all.
Yep.
All right, and then one last question to kind of wrap this up here. And Rusty actually submitted this question right before the show, so I wasn't able to add it to our mailbag here. But you know what? Let's throw up the mailbag graphic because it's a fun.
Boom.
All right, this question here from Rusty saying, does Notre Dame have the best tradition and the most mystique in all of college football?
Tradition? Like what?
Tradition, like in terms of names, championships, like
names.
I have to go with yes.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking, if you say top 5 college football programs of all time, I mean Notre Dame's probably top.
Don't say 1.
It's
2.
It's no. 2. I honestly, where are you going with
over
1?
Bama?
Yes.
Yeah, over Bama. Yeah, Bama's recent.
Over Bama. Correct. Bro, the 4 horsemen win one for the Gipper. Like there's
but that's
so many.
That's 50s, 60s. Again, Bear Bryant and Nick Saban.
Michigan's
man.
maybe one.
No, man.
I'm looking here.
I'm
looking here at like
again, tradition, yes, but in terms of top college franchises, dynasties, Bama.
I mean,
what
do they got? Like, I think they got like 6 or 7 national championships.
Saban have like 5 by himself already, and then I mean he and then Bear Bryant has a few.
I mean, play like a champion sign. I mean,
again, that's tradition. Like
that was your question though.
But Michael made the comment of top college,
so
and I was like, whoa, don't say that. yeah. But yeah, no, in terms of tradition, yes, but now I will say I went to the Notre Dame game in 2017, and ever since they redid the stadium, the redoing of the stadium definitely took a lot of the mystique out of it for me. But but go ahead, Michael. What were you gonna say?
They are number 4 all-time wins list. Michigan, Ohio State, Bama, Notre Dame, Texas is your top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, when I was there, I think I maybe shared this story once before.
Yeah.
Just missing the top 10. When I was there, like someone was spreading someone's ashes on the field.
Yeah.
I mean,
awesome.
Like, no offense to Carter-Finley. I don't think nobody's putting ashes at Carter-Finley.
Greg, you broke your leg on.
You totally would.
It's the same thing, Greg.
I mean, I probably would. That would be that guy.
The first one.
Yeah, I'd give me the first one.
I want to be buried in my casket at midfield. They run over me. They're running.
I want all North Carolina flags at half staff.
No.
Notre Dame is just different. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
In terms of tradition and mystique, I mean, like Rudy itself. I mean, No. Then, so tradition, mystique. I'd agree. Yes, the
when
gold
you're talking
helmet.
National championships, I mean, not counting Princeton and Yale because those don't count in the 1800s. But Alabama's first with 18, and then Michigan, Notre Dame, and USC are tied with 11 each.
So I was even wrong. I said 8. So come on, man.
But wait, you just said Alabama had how many?
They have 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
18
question
to
was
11.
overall.
Yeah.
I mean, how many movies have they made about Alabama? Other than Forrest Gump?
Forrest Gump, maybe that's all you need, man. Run, Forrest, run. Yeah, no.
Wait a minute, Greg. Is that really your argument? Like,
He's talking about the mystique, right? Like, he's talking about
one movie to a half a movie.
Bro, they made so many movies about Notre Dame.
Hey, if we're going to go this route, then how many documentaries are there about Notre Dame football? There's one about NC State basketball. Is NC State the greatest sport?
No, I mean, bro, they have a whole freaking. They have 2 30 for 30s on it.
Yeah.
They had the kicker, and then they had the Catholics versus convicts. I think there was another one. I think there was a Rudy one too. I can do this all night. Let's go.
No, I mean, again, like,
are you a closet Notre Dame?
I am not. I love tradition.
If you aren't dressed up in a leprechaun outfit on Saturday, I'm gonna be so mad at you, man.
They don't make
you, eject you from this podcast.
They don't make leprechaun outfits and extra sexy. I look so. I will stick with my Wolfpack red.
Oh Lord. But yeah. So anyway, so answer your question here, Rusty. Yes. So we agree that in terms of tradition, mystique, yes, Notre Dame, for sure. 100% agree. Last thing I wanted to add. This is on Friday night, 8:15 p.m. at Invisalign Arena down towards the airport. The Ice Pack will be opening up their season versus East Carolina. Again, this Friday, September 8th. So make sure to go and check them out. Again, Friday night. It's gonna be a beautiful night against a rival in ECU. So go check it out. I think tickets are like $5-7, something like that. It's very cheap. It's a great time. You can have beer, you got food. It's a great time. So make sure to go and support these guys. And we're actually going to be doing a preview, which we'll actually release next week in lieu of a VMI preview. Not saying we're overlooking it, but I don't think a preview is necessarily justified.
Hey, anything can happen, guys, right?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, I don't know how I don't know if we could fill an hour worth of preview for VMI, but yeah. So instead we're going to be a preview of the Ice Pack season, which should be really good this year. Just FYI. So
yeah. So Invisalign Arena, can you even see it?
Good. Are you being funny? Yeah, you are. Okay.
So we have any? I know we gave our predictions at the preview from last time, but
yeah. Well, Greg and Michael, did theirs. So Megan, let's hear yours, man. What's your prediction?
Well, I already said for me, I think State drops this game. I think if you guys check out part 1 of the preview, that Greg and Michael did, the point that Ben Belden made, that he was like, there's never been a lot of room for questioning Notre Dame to this point, even though they've played like Tennessee State and Navy. There wasn't a lot of concern from execution to this point. Right. So they did what they needed to do very well. So, or pretty well, or whatever you want to call it. But it's just like, I think they're going to get us. I don't know. I think they're going to get us. I think the argument about, what's his face? Sam Hartman's not played great against NC State. That may be true. And I know we did get Savion Jackson back. I know we get Lyndon Cooper back. I don't know. Has anybody heard anything about Jakeem Harris yet?
He was listed on the depth chart as still the starter, but it doesn't really mean anything.
But to me, I don't know. I look at it as Sam Hartman now is with a totally different level of talent at Wake Forest and a way better offensive line. So I kind of think it's going to be a 2-score game. I
don't
know what that's going to look like, but that's what I think. Yeah, I don't know. I would love to not be that way. I'd love to beat them by 1 point. I don't even care. I want to win. But
who's the closet Notre Dame fan now?
I'm not advocating for them being the better program. I'm just saying, I think I will say the rain. The rain's going to force teams to run the ball more, and both schools like to run the ball. So maybe does it come down to somebody blocking a punt and running it in for a touchdown? Is that how this game gets won again? So see how it goes. Is that my hot take for the game?
Get the lighter
that's
up.
pretty juicy.
I think my hot take is Farrah McKeever makes a reappearance and blocks a punt for the touchdown. That's what I think.
Somebody said that today, actually, in the comments of the Notre Dame preview, talking about it's guaranteed there's going to be at least one block punt. I'm like, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, right now the spread right now is NC State +8, but public money is heavy on Notre Dame right now. No shocker there. So yeah, for me, like I really want to pick the win because I really do feel confident because the environment's gonna be crazy in our favor. I think that we've done a great job of kind of keeping, our cards close to our chest. I think there's a huge, and point of emphasis for Doran to not only just start off playing strong against Notre Dame, which is something that I think the stat was Notre Dame is 28-2 against the ACC all time.
Yeah.
So it's something which Doran said, yeah, no, AC needs to do a better job at playing against Notre Dame. But I think that we have big goals. I think we'll be 2 days fresher than Notre Dame, which is is something for sure. The fact that we got to watch them while they were playing, when they couldn't necessarily watch us because they probably did, but maybe not 100% focus since they still had to focus on Tennessee State slightly. But I just sitting here saying, just like you were saying, Sam Hartman, we know he's a tremendous quarterback. He's got a ton of weapons. He's got a great offensive line. And I just worry about the defense being able to penetrate, through the offensive line.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, I'm telling you, I think State can win this game, but I'm gonna.
I think they can too. I think they can.
I'm gonna stick to what my head is telling me. I'm gonna say final score 27-24. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a shootout. No, Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking it's gonna be
27-24.
something like, maybe like 35-21 is what I'm kind of thinking. Maybe I might be too high. I'll go 31. Let's go 31-21. That's what I'm going to say to score. It's going to be a touchdown and field goal.
Okay.
But
I like it.
We're being Debbie Downers here. If I had to think State wins this game, I think the 27-24 score you have, Layton, I think that's a realistic score for State to win this game. I could see them going and winning it, I could see them winning 28-21 as well. 30-20, 30-24. I could see them doing that.
Yeah. But yeah, I got Josh in here saying 28-14, like that. So again, y'all, it's gonna be an exciting one. The biggest thing which I'll say is, once again, I know Doran's really harped on it, but yes, it's a noon game, but it is what it is. Show up. It's gonna be a huge game. The boys need us. The boys are gonna be excited. They can win this game. So show up. Let's have their back. Let's be loud the whole game. Let's be in our seats for 4 quarters, and let's win this puppy. All right. So with that being said, that wraps it up here. Sorry, any other last comments?
Yeah.
Sorry.
By the way, I did confirm we can't camp out overnight. I
know. I literally was thinking, like, I was literally thinking about it, like, even like outside, like on Trinity somewhere, like, dude, I was like, I don't care. Like, I think the fact that Doran said that even if you sleep overnight, I'm like,
don't tempt me with a good
cool,
time.
Actually. Don't tempt me with a good time. I like it. Yeah.
I tried, man. I hit them up and they're like, unfortunately, no. I said, well, get coach in line then. Coach said I can do it. Maybe if I get a pass from him. Maybe I get a hall pass from him.
Maybe.
Anyway. All right.
But so how many likes are we at with part 1?
97.
97.
It's on 99.
It's
on 99.
Okay. I just refreshed. So
all right. So yeah, y'all, but just again for us, and if you want to win 2 free Notre Dame tickets and a parking pass to the Notre Dame game for absolutely free, all you have to do is be a subscriber, which is free to do. Hit that subscribe button down below, hit that notification bell. Make sure we hit that 100 like mark, which we should. It sounds like we're right there. And make sure just to leave a comment in the video for part 1 Notre Dame, and we're at 100 the winner Thursday night. Woohoo! 100. Let's go. All right, there we go. So all you have to do is be a subscriber, hit the comment, or leave a comment, and we'll pick the winner Thursday night. But and also too, we also released our vlog for the UConn game as well, so make sure to go and check that out. And with that being said, thank you all so much for the amazing support. We really have absolutely loved doing this. It was amazing to meet so many followers on this weekend, and we love doing it, y'all. It's a pleasure to talk and state stuff with y'all. So with that being said, we'll see y'all next week. Looking forward to seeing y'all soon, and go Pack, y'all.
Go Beat
Notre Dame, baby.